Welcome to Matchday Live. Thank you so much for joining us on this Champions League night. And it is a big, big night in the Champions League. And so when it is a big night, you need to call in some big guests. Tall guests, statuesque guests, guests with incredible knowledge. Now, if I was describing these two Matchday Live guests, it would be statos, I think. Statos, and I reckon probably swats as well. I reckon you were the two that did your homework first at school, sat at the front, sat up straight.
I'm a last minute girl, so not me. But having seen JMO's notebook, there's some serious stats in that. I tell you, some numbers everywhere. It's like a neat little notebook.
And I spent most of my time outside the class, so I'm not sure where you got your information from.
Right, I was totally and utterly wrong. So we welcome David James and IZZY CHRISTIANSEN. Thank you very much for being here. Thank you. IZZY, I'm nervous. This, to me, is the biggest game of the season so far.
Wow. I'm not. I'm actually not. I saw them live against Ipswich. I thought they looked great. Obviously, Brentford wanted the win, but I think City are coming here tonight with good form, good players on show, players finding form, Foden, De Bruyne. I think it's going to be a good night.
Right, it is time. We'll come to you in just a second, JMO, but you know we like to give the team news the second that we're allowed to. This is the very first place, and so we can give you the team news for tonight in just a second. But you know what? I'm going to tell you there's two changes from the team that beat Ipswich 6-0 at the weekend. Right, let's go. This is your starting 11 for tonight. So Ederson is in net. And then it's Nunes, which I imagine is in that right back not position again. And then it is Akanji. Oh, Ruben Diaz, I feel so much better when Ruben Diaz in that starting 11. And then it is Vardiol in the left back. And then his Croatian friend, Mateo Kovacic. Captain, Kevin De Bruyne. And then in from the team that played against Ipswich, Bernardo Silva. Savino also in, replacing Doku. And then that man from the weekend, Phil Foden. And of course, Erling Haaland. So two changes from the team that beat Ipswich so comprehensively at the weekend. Gundogan drops to the bench. Doku is injured. He didn't travel. In comes Savino and Bernardo Silva. So lots to talk about there. But I want to start back at that Ipswich game because, of course, it was 6-0. It was exactly what we needed in terms of confidence for the league, but confidence before this game as well. We were talking before, David, and we said there were 6 marvellous things about that. And you immediately said, no, there were 7 because there was a clean sheet as well. And we know... Yes, is
Goalkeeper union.
Goalkeeper
I like
union.
Thinking.
Yeah.
But it was impressive, needed performance.
Absolutely. And I'm just going to follow on what IZZY said there before you rightly interrupted me for the team announcement. If you'd looked at this fixture tonight, PSG, and the capabilities of PSG, irrespective of their position in the Champions League table at the moment, when I saw the Ipswich game, straight away I was like, this could be a 5-0 Man City performance against that PSG side. Some of the play in that Ipswich game was superb,
yeah.
Absolutely superb. And I was at the Brentford game where I thought there was a massive upturn in a lot of the performance. Yes, the result didn't go the right way, but there was so much more positives. Kevin De Bruyne, from the warm-up onwards at Brentford, was exceptional. Strangely, Eddie was superb in the warm-up, even if he didn't play in the Brentford game, goes into the Ipswich game and has, I think, a massive impact on the outcome of the game. We will see one of the saves he makes at some point, but all the factors came into play against Ipswich. Then the substitutions came on, the game changed a little bit in the composition, understandably. But I just thought there was a level of performance in City that we were talking about last season, the season before. And if you don't look at recent form, you'd think, oh, this is City doing their normal thing.
Absolutely, but when you can take in that form into consideration and then you look at this, I think it also coincides with the upturn of the performances of some of the players, because of course Phil Foden was the best player in the league last year, is he? He didn't start the season on those levels, but he seems to be back to them now, especially when you look at how well he took some of these goals.
Yeah, he was brilliant. He's had a tough start to the season as well, like obviously off the back of the Euros last summer, the disappointment, he had a couple of injuries. And Phil looks back in the game. He looks sharp. I think I said this after the game against Ipswich, they look so physically sharp. And of course, McAtee coming off the bench and that lovely little header, the lovely dink pass from Kovacic.
Easy, that.
He did make it look easy. Really difficult skill to execute on the move, but brilliant the way he lifted it over the keeper. But I think City are looking good, and I totally agree with you. They look like they've turned a corner. Something's clicked. There's so many metaphors out there. The light switch has been turned on. I don't know how to put it, but they look really good, and let's hope they can do the same tonight in Paris. It'll be hostile, but hopefully City can use that third advantage.
I love a metaphor like that. Have you got any more metaphors like that for me about City's fortunes turning, David?
No, he's
No.
ticked all the boxes.
Right, I want to talk about Erling Haaland because, of course, he got a goal in that game against Ipswich, and we know that Erling Haaland absolutely loves scoring in the Champions League. He spoke to the press earlier this week, and this is what he had to say ahead of the game.
10 years sounds like a lot, most of your career. What sort of convinced you to sign on for that long?
First of all, the feeling, as I said, and the people I spoke with made me convinced that this was the right choice, and the people around me. And yeah, in the end, when I spoke with people, we came to this, and it felt really good. And in the end, I really look forward to spending so many more years in Manchester. It's going to be amazing.
Just two things, Erling. Did a part of you, when you committed for such a long time, have Alan Shearer's Premier League record in your mind?
No.
Not at all?
Not really, no.
OK. And just the second part is, it's been a real up and down season for you and the club. Do you feel that you're now back on the up after this little mini run of 4 or 5 games? Do you feel like City again, essentially, and yourself?
Yeah, I feel like a really positive energy in the club, and it's been a hard period. Everyone knows that. But yeah, I feel the energy. We're training really good, and yeah, I think we're over that now. And of course, we look ahead. We look forward to. In time, we look forward to the game tomorrow, and then many other games. So yeah.
We've seen you fighting and working a lot to keep scoring goals in the Premier League, and it seems that every match, every day is more and more difficult because defenders are waiting for you, are more tight, more close in their penalty box. How can you improve in order to find the spaces in such difficult circumstances? I have never seen a situation so difficult defensively for a striker as you find every match in the Premier League and maybe in Europe.
Yeah, it's getting more and more difficult. But again, that's a positive thing when people really care about you or really really put a lot of people on you or whatever. I think that's the best thing that can happen to you as a footballer, because that means that you've done something right. And then in the end, there's no excuses or anything. You have to try and find a way to win games with the team, and for me, obviously, as the striker of Manchester City, to score goals. So it's about finding ways to get to chances and everything, and to do your best and score.
Yes, and score, Erling. Brilliant. That's pretty much all we ask as well. Erling Haaland speaking to the media ahead of the PSG game tonight. Of course, I'm still beaming, partly because of the Ipswich score at the weekend, and of course, a big part because Erling Haaland signed a 9.5-year contract last year. And I don't think I'll ever get over how happy I am about that. He's got that contract, Izzy, and then he scored a goal at the weekend. It's like the little cherry on top of it. I'm so happy. I'm so happy he's going to be here for the foreseeable.
Yeah, I think it came as a shock to me, and a positive shock, because it's a very long contract. But how exciting is that for City fans, and him as a player, who he is as a guy, his presence in the team. He is a leader without being a leader. Just his presence on the pitch is important, and I think it's it's really exciting for the future in terms of whatever way City evolve, because they will continue to evolve, the way they play. He can play any way, and I just think having him in the team at the focal point of the team is essential moving forwards. And look at him, he's got this weird kind of smile about him. He's just so hungry to score goals, and I'm sure many Man City fans are delighted with that news last week.
So happy. So I was the same as you. When the alert came through on the City app, I love it when one comes through. I was just beaming. And of course, he loves the Champions League. In his first 11 Champions League away games, Erling Haaland scored 11 goals. Of course he does, because he just makes it easy, or look easy, in fact, David. The journalists there were asking him about the way that defenders have changed playing against him, and the way that they're trying to make it, or they are making it more difficult for him. How do you think his game has evolved this year, or how do you think defenders have evolved to try and stop him?
It's an interesting point. I think using Brentford as an example was probably the easiest, because he didn't get the opportunities a lot in the way that City were playing, and obviously Phil Foden scoring the goals meant that his presence was allowing other opportunities. Kevin De Bruyne, the ball that he put in for Phil Foden, I think the first goal with a little glance off the left foot. There was a style of play which City adopted which didn't help Erling, I think, to be the guy that was going to score.
Yeah.
But the moments that they created to open up Brentford were everyone else having the freedom to do it in a weird way. So Erling being there now, as he says, he's got more people taking focus on him. Well, actually means there's more space for the rest to do it. And I think with injured players getting back fit, then the brilliance of Kevin De Bruyne, hungry Kevin De Bruyne, will allow City and Erling Haaland's presence. I don't think Kevin will be here for 9.5 years, but possibly not in a playing role anyway.
I'd like that, David.
Yeah, but it's a great thing. It's kind of like, we need to take care of this guy, which allows City to have more flexibility in other areas.
You say hungry Kevin. There was also a very hungry Phil Foden on Sunday, Ipswich as well, and a very hungry Savinho as well from the last few games that he's been playing. So Izzy, I'm really looking forward to seeing how Savinho and Foden link up tonight, in their own way, but also in support of Erling.
That's right, and I thought as well, I know he's not available tonight, but Jeremy Doku had a super game against Ipswich as well. I thought he was really effective in the wide area, and that, when you're in a team, you are a collective unit, but you're also individuals as well, and you have to do your bit to contribute, especially when Man City have a way of playing, a style of play. It uses the width a lot. So Savinho tonight, he will be needed a lot as an outlet. The timing of his runs, and you've got, like David mentioned, the likes of De Bruyne and Bernardo Silva coming into the team as well. They know the exact moment to release these passes, and then what that then does is, by going wide, it opens up space for the likes of Phil to find those little central pockets, operate, smooth operator inside those areas. Look at the way he takes it on the back foot, clean, no one can get near him. And then that little finish there, and Erling's there to mop it up if the keeper gets a hand to it. But I just think that if they start operating well, they will gather some momentum, and they can be a serious force, and who knows what the future holds this season. But it starts tonight. This game against PSG is big. It's really big, but it's nothing more that the City players don't know how to handle.
I loved it that you couldn't see there off camera when they were showing the Phil Foden goal. Both of these, the smile that went on both their faces with that Phil Foden finish, and we've seen it before as well.
It's ridiculous, yeah. He's too good, isn't he?
I mentioned it to Izzy before. So after the Brentford game, he passed me in the mix zone. And I said, I know the result wasn't great. I said, well done, great goals. And he went, yeah, but I wanted a hat-trick. and I just felt that's what you want to hear a player say. It was kind of like he's hungry, and then he goes to Ipswich, scores a couple of goals, Pep brings him off, and I'm thinking there's another game that he wants a hat-trick. So maybe third time lucky.
I love that from him. I love that. Yeah, I just wanted more. That's the hunger we want. When we've been through the sticky patch the last couple of months, have we been missing the hunger then, or what do you put it down to?
So this links to the Erling Haaland answer. I think there was a lot of issue about injuries per se, but my feeling was when the injuries to Jack Grealish and Doku, that was a crucial point, because it didn't have two natural wingers, and a lot of City's play depend on widemen playing wide, and without them, then Bernardo Silva's trying to fill in a wide role, didn't have that. And I just think that the style of play was very compromised. Then it builds in a bit of fragility, which is understandable, especially what it's like over an extended period of not getting the results you expect. Now you've got the players back fit again, playing in the proper positions, all of a sudden the teams they're playing against saying, how do we handle this? Ipswich, and I've seen Ipswich play at Ipswich, and they've been difficult to break down. And on the weekend, Man City just went... I text one of the friends and it was like, he said, I'll be happy if he gets to 4. And I'm like, this could be 7. And it was 6 and it should have been 7 because Phil should have stayed on for another 10 minutes. But, yeah.
Let's rest his legs a little bit, please. It's a big game tonight, David.
Yes.
It's a big game tonight. Thank you very much to both of you. So we're going to head over to Paris now, where two of our absolute favourites, a Matchday Live favourite and just a general favourite person of mine in the world, spoke to us. Although I noticed it's absolutely chucking down in Paris. So all of a sudden, I'm not jealous that I'm not there. But a big shout out. Thank you for speaking to us. Here is Ali McCoist and Jolien Lescott.
Hi Ali, great to have you with us on Matchday Live tonight. Can I start by asking you what you're expecting here this evening?
I'm expecting a proper game. I've been here enough times to know it's a difficult place to come to, and when they're good, they're good. There's been if somebody said to me that I was going to come here second game before the table finished, and it would be 22nd against 24th against 20. Real Madrid are 22nd. It's 24th against 26. And I said they'd lost their marbles, but it is. And what makes it really interesting is actually, if not a must-win game at this moment in time, it's certainly a game I don't think either team, can afford to lose really.
Absolutely. On the positive side, I think you had a winning streak with City, although it was broken at Villa. But since then, there's been a real uptake in form. I mean, what have you made of City over the past few weeks?
Particularly the weekend against Ipswich, I thought it was absolutely more like their old self. Yes, there was an upturn. There has been an upturn in form, but result aside, I even thought the performance against Ipswich for the entire match was more like the City that we've come to know. And I just thought, from goalkeeper out, I just thought it was a really top-class performance and a lot of good individual performances from players who haven't really set the heather on fire the last few months. Gundogan was back, De Bruyne is back, Foden looked heck of a sharp. So I just think, I don't want to tempt fate and say that's the corner turn, City are off and running again, but by miles away they looked far like their old selves at Ipswich at the weekend.
Definitely. Obviously it's been a really busy few days at City, not least with that fantastic news about Erling Haaland and his long-term new contract. What did you make of that?
Well, I'm delighted. I'm not sure too many centre-halves up and down the country will be thrilled to bits, but it's great. It's a statement, isn't it? It's an absolute statement from the club, and it's a statement from Erling Haaland himself. And I think, because a lot of City fans, I thought, as you would expect, the City fans have been, pretty understanding in terms of the recent form, and of course we wouldn't be happy with it, but at the same time, they've accepted it, and hopefully the corner will turn. But this is a real boost for everybody. And as I said, a lot of the fans, the majority of all the fans clearly would hope that's the corner turned. But it's a real boost, a shot in the arm. Think, the top striker, because there's goals. I mean, the next 10 years there'll be goals flying in here, there, and everywhere. There's no doubt about that in my mind. So great news for the City fans.
I think you've already alluded, but the fact that KDB, Phil Foden, Ilkay Gundogan all look really close to the best again on Sunday. And how important is that confidence that they'll get from a performance like that, looking to the rest of the season?
I think, as I said to you earlier, I think performance more than the result was impressive. I really do. I mean, the result was obviously a great result, 6-0, clean sheet and battering the goals. But as I mentioned there, I just think the level of performance, because those players that we've mentioned haven't been firing on all cylinders. Whether it's De Bruyne, even with Phil Foden, Gundogan really hasn't gone to the extent that we know he can. So I think, as collective and as good as the result was for City, I think individually, I think the players will look back at that 90 minutes and say, well, hopefully that's a corner turn and we can kick on and get more, consistency in the level of performance.
Finally, Ali, toughest question of the night. What's your prediction this evening?
I fancy City. I do. Mind you, every time you and I talk, I fancy City. I fancy City to win 2-1.
We'll take that.
I know you will.
Thanks very much. Thanks for your time.
Great.
Jolien, great to have you with us on Matchday Live tonight. Can I start by asking you what you're expecting this evening?
I'm expecting goals. The quality of the players, more so the quality of the coaching, and potential confidence levels of both teams. So I'm expecting there to be, it's an exciting game, opportunities created and goals for both teams.
Obviously we go into the game on the back of that really great performance and result at Ipswich at the weekend. How much confidence and belief and momentum do you think we can take from that?
A lot. Again, confidence would have been low due to recent form before, say, Christmas especially. But I think performances have improved. I know it was Salford, in the greatest respect to them, but I still felt it was a very professional performance. A lot of opportunities created and executed. So from the weekend, similar. I think the performance overall was very controlled and very dominant.
With your central defender's hat on, Jolie, and I've got to ask you about Ruben Diaz, who came back at the weekend, and his leadership and dominance was really impressive. How big a boost is that for City, not just tonight, but looking to the rest of the season?
Yeah, it's massive. Ruben has proved to be one of the leaders in the squad, an important figure on and off the pitch, like the other players especially. But yeah, I think when any one player has been out, their enthusiasm, adrenaline, and eagerness to be back will shine. And again, even more so from a defensive perspective, if things haven't been going great for the team and you bring a new defender back into the team and it's a clean sheet, you obviously look at that and emphasise his importance.
Obviously we're here speaking at an incredible stadium tonight. I just wonder if you've been here before and sampled it, or what you're expecting from the atmosphere tonight.
Yeah, I'm expecting it to be intense, quite intimidating at times. I've never been here. I'm excited to see this occasion because what is at stake for both teams. It's a really important game, and I think Kelly touched on it before. It's the new format. This is probably what the organisers wanted and what we've got. We didn't want us to be involved in this late drama in regards to the knockout of the group stages or the league stage. But yeah, it's exciting all round.
What will be the key factors tonight for City, do you think, Jolien?
I think the counter-attack. I think that is a vulnerability of City in general, because they dominate so high up the pitch. But I think that's the way PSG will want to play. They have pace in attack. Dembele is a threat, so I'm sure the control element of that. And as I said, the tactical balance between the coaches, I'm eager to see that change and the tweaks they make to out of respect for each other.
And finally, Jolien, if I can just put you on the spot, what's your prediction for tonight?
I'm going to say 3-2 to us, to City, but I'm expecting a lot of goals.
Fantastic. Thanks as always for your time, Jolien. Cheers.
Thank you so much to Jolien Lescott and to Ali McCoy for chatting to us, of course, ahead of the PSG game. 8 p.m. kickoff. Now, before then, we will also, during the show, be talking about City's new signings. Of course, very excited. 2 new signings for the women, 2 new signings for the men. Kushanov and Heish. We're very much looking forward to speaking about them, getting the opinions of David James and of IZZY CHRISTIANSEN. And, of course, on the women's side, they are currently playing Manchester United in the quarter-finals of the League Cup. It kicked off 4 minutes ago. If you do want to watch that game, you can watch the full game on City Plus. So get yourself onto there if you want to watch the women take on Manchester United, looking to, of course, bounce right back from that defeat at the weekend. I will keep you updated on the score of that one as well. So on to tonight's men's game. Paris Saint-Germain, of course. When the Champions League started, City were ranked first and Paris Saint-Germain were ranked fourth by UEFA. Now at this point in the competition, with only 2 games left to go, this could be what some people are describing as a death match, because I told you, my stomach just jumped when I said that, guys. It is one of the biggest games of the season so far, as we currently sit 24th and PSG sit 26th in that big old table that we keep talking about. But these guys are making me feel more confident. Let's have a look now at the Paris Saint-Germain team that we will be facing tonight. So in goal, of course, it's Donnarumma, Hakimi, Marquinhos, Fabian Ruiz, Doué, Vitinha, Lee, Nuno Mendes, Barcola, Pacho and João Neves. And the subs are on your screen. Also, I'm not sure why Vitinha isn't showing on the screen at number 17. It's not the Invisible Man. It is Vitinha that is playing. So that is the Paris Saint-Germain team for tonight. For your reference, that is 3 changes from the team that narrowly beat Lens at the weekend for Paris Saint-Germain as well. So 3 changes from their team at the weekend. And I know, of course, I mean, probably I'll get the guys' opinion, probably our unluckiness. Marquinhos and Hakimi have been out for the whole of January, and they're both back tonight. Brilliant, David. I would have preferred it if those 2 were still out.
I don't know. There's a bit where they're going to be a bit rusty. So,
okay.
But the thing is, PSG need them. I was just saying to Izzy, the amount of opportunities this team give up in Liga and obviously in the Champions League. Interestingly, when you mentioned the placings or the seedings, I was fearful of this new Champions League format for some teams not quite approaching it properly or possibly not taking into consideration the potential outcomes. I didn't envisage either PSG or Man City being the two teams that sort of fell for it. Because
I mean, Real Madrid are down there too.
They are, yeah. And I think it's, because I'm sure Manchester City are going to qualify, I think it's wonderful that it's made us think, or made teams think about how to do it. But going back to the PSG thing, as they walking off the bus there he is, Hakimi. I mean, this guy is a superb player. Weirdly, one of PSG's best players, creating opportunities, defending well. Barcola, top goal scorer. Neves, who's top assister. I mean, there's a lot to like about this team, which makes it even better when you beat them.
Hakimi is very popular amongst 7-year-olds as well. I don't know if you don't know, but my son and all of his friends constantly do the Hakimi celebration, like all the time. Like they don't even like PSG, they just like his celebration. I think that's the key for 7-year-olds. In terms of PSG's draw, people are, they are down there. As it stands, they will be going out of the Champions League at this point. They've got 2 games left to salvage something. They would argue they were given one of the tougher draws of the Champions League. I guess, as you say, David, the competition would argue that was the point of it. Pulling up different teams. So part of the reason why they're down there, they've been beaten so far by Bayern Munich, by Arsenal and by Atletico Madrid. So they have had a tough draw, Izzy.
Yeah, that is tough, and it's certainly taken some getting used to, just adjusting to what this new format is. And obviously the teams that are competing in this season's competition, few teams have been caught off guard, and PSG are one of them, clearly. But those are 3 top sides. Arsenal are really good in Europe this season. Atletico, we all know what they're capable of. But the pressure is on PSG tonight. It really is, because of course we need to qualify, we need to win. But I think with PSG being at home, the hostility, the atmosphere, it could go either way for them. But because they are 2 places below City in this new format, by beating City tonight, they will jump above them. Whereas City winning, it gives us breathing space, basically. So it is finely poised, and I'm really excited to see it. And just going back to the team, you mentioned a couple of players you liked. A player I like for PSG is Fabian Ruiz. I thought he was, big part of Spain's European Championship win last summer in Germany. He is a proper box-to-box midfielder, and I am a little biased towards box-to-box midfielders, but he's going to be one that we need to keep quiet tonight in the midfield.
Yeah, you're the box-to-box midfielder club, and you're always...
I didn't mention any goalkeepers.
Are you going to mention Donnarumma? I feel like we should.
You need to. You've just been saying some great stuff off air.
No, I didn't say some great stuff off
You
air.
did.
He gets exposed a lot. Interesting, when you see PSG and you think top of the Liga and all the things that go with it, he has to work very hard to maintain that position. And just going back to the draw, they might have had a hard draw with 4 tough opposition, but it meant they had 4 games they should win, which would have put them on 12 points, which would have meant they wouldn't have been in the position they're in right now.
Absolutely, yes.
It's a great point.
It's a very good point, David. Thank you. Of course, they are top of Liga. They are actually undefeated in the league. They're also on an incredible run of form. Since the last Champions League win against Salzburg, they've won the last 8 matches in a row. So they are in a period of good form as well. In terms of the players, Izzy, I've got a bit of a theory. Obviously, they used to have egos. Shall we say that? Is that the polite way of saying it?
European.
Yes.
It's a euphemism, yeah.
Yes. They seem to have got rid of all the egos. Do you think that could be helping them?
It's twofold. If the egos are performing, they're the big names. But they never, I suppose they did at times, the egos you're referring to, Messi, Neymar, Mbappe, presumably.
Who all played the last time we played them.
Who did all play the last time we played them. But now they've got a different dynamic, and sometimes teams do go through a sort of an evolution of culture, and sometimes it's great to have top superstars, and sometimes it's better to have slightly less superstar status but more of a team cohesion. And I think this PSG team, they represent that right now. And I think that's what's going to make it very difficult tonight for us, for us to break through them. But the form that we're coming into this game in, I think it excites me because you made a really good point again around if we show that level of performance that we hit against Ipswich, and that's not Ipswich who are in the bottom three of the Premier League, that's an Ipswich team who are really good. They're tight, they're defensively organised, they're not easy to beat 6-0. If City show those levels of performance, I think it'll be a good night.
I'm hoping it's going to be a good night all round, Izzy, because I've got some good news for you.
Hit me.
City women have taken the lead against Manchester United. Laura Coombs in the 12th minute. So that has been played away. That's at Lee Sports Village. And they are 1-0 up. City have had 2 shots on target so far, 1 goal. So hopefully that is the start of a good night. Oh,
good news.
That would be lovely. That would be exactly what we need. In terms of PSG as well, David, how do you watch much French league football?
No.
Okay, yes. Hold on, I'll go to Izzy. Do you watch much French
Do you know
league
what?
football?
I did play in France, so I did watch
that.
Of late. Do I watch it? No, I don't. It's quite random. It's quite transitional. It's a little bit like you don't know what you're going to get, which does add an element of unpredictability. But I mean, PSG are flying. They're top of the league. It would be a catastrophe if they were to lose the league title from the position they're in right now. And they are the top team in France. They have been for years. So they always hold that status. But yeah, French football's an interesting. I think there's some teams that are doing really well this season who haven't been doing well. And obviously Roberto De Zerbi from Brighton, who we're all very familiar with, went over there. And he's now coaching in the league, so that does, represent a little bit more interest in it. But I don't tend to watch many matches. But I do like watching teams with class players, and like I said, that Fabien Ruiz, he's a good player, really good player.
I did watch Lille last night.
Oh yes, okay.
At Liverpool.
Okay.
And they're one of the French teams who are doing well
well
in the league, and they were okay. I mean, that's the thing. PSG are so good. And when you mentioned I can't remember the euphemism you used, special players that they
Egos?
have. Egos, okay. Mm-hmm. The expectation was put upon a league almost, which was probably not representational of what the league was about. They have fantastic players. PSG have fantastic players in France, but the league itself isn't strong enough compared to the likes of the Bundesliga and obviously the Premier League. So
the interesting thing as well with French football is it's unpredictable, but they also have the ability to turn it on, and they can actually blow teams away, but without much warning. And I'm thinking back, and sorry, City fans, but when Lyon beat Man City in the Champions League, I can't remember what year it was. It would have been around 2019, 2020 maybe.
Yeah, that's what I had in my head.
I remember going to the game, the away leg, because I was in Lyon at the time, and it was like it came out of nowhere. And this is City, who are like, climbing up and up. And it was literally, no one would have predicted that result. But Lyon that day were exceptional. So they do have the ability to pull something out of the bag. I know we're not talking about Lyon, but French football, I just think, has this aura about it, which is you have to be sharp in the mind and get ready to play.
That was a great point, and I didn't like it, Izzy.
I'm sure you didn't.
Yeah, because it was a great point.
It wasn't. Yeah. Was it a quarter-final?
Yes, it was.
Yeah, it was Champions League quarter-final.
Yeah.
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 Oh well, sorry to bring that up.
Thank you, because my kind of point around that was in terms of PSG are 9 points ahead in the French league, and then from them being able to switch from the French league where they're 9 points clear to come into the Champions League, kind of how difficult that is. But obviously, Izzy's point just completely scraps that. So they can switch it on. So PSG, they're coming out there to warm up, managed by Luis Enrique, and him and Pep have some wonderful history.
Sorry, I was just looking at Donnarumma. I forgot he got kicks in the face, didn't he? That's why his cheeks.
Oh yes.
Yeah, he got a proper.
That was horrific, wasn't it?
Oh yes, you can see the mark there. Okay, I wonder if he'll flinch.
Did you take them in the face, JMO? Like a boot in the face.
Izzy says,
Did you ever?
As I sit there with a broken nose. Occasionally.
Of course, he was brave. Of course he did, Izzy.
I bet he did.
Always brave.
Just asking.
Right, my Luis Enrique stats. You ready? Pep Guardiola and Luis Enrique were teammates at Barca for 5 years, from 96 to 2001. We all know Pep Guardiola managed Barcelona B. Who took over from him when he finished? Luis Enrique. Nice little links for you there. Luis Enrique had really nice things to say about Pep when he came to City, especially at the start, of course, which was a little bit slow at the start before we started winning everything. Luis Enrique's always had really kind things to say about Pep Guardiola. And so they know each other. They're friends. They know each other's style. How does that impact it, Izzy? Or
I don't know. Honestly, I think it's fascinating. Like, because it's like Pep and Arteta as well. Like in the Premier League, like obviously Arteta was Pep's assistant for a short while, and now they literally go toe to toe all the time, and they're mates. But it's you can't not be competitive, like obviously. But I don't know. I really don't know. You just have to find a way to shut it. And you've got these two technical areas. It's just like you don't want to know what's going on over there. It's an interesting dynamic, yeah.
I think it's just if you get involved in the second guessing, isn't it?
Yeah.
I know you so well, but I also know that you're capable of doing something. Is this the game that you do it, or are you going to do what you do normally so well and then change your own approach to it? But going back to what you said then, what we've been saying, I think, all the way through this, what we've seen, I think, in the last few weeks at least from City, there's a point, even if he's your best mate, you're looking at it and going, how do I stop him? How do I stop him? How do I stop him? Have my players got enough to do it? And that's what we're going to get answered tonight.
We certainly are. We certainly are, because, of course, there is only 2 games left in the big old Champions League table. So, as it kind of stands, if we win tonight, let's just hit with that. Let's just go with that. If City win tonight and Dynamo Zagreb lose, they're playing Arsenal. Never thought I'd want Arsenal to win a game. Here we are. City are guaranteed to be in the next round. A playoff place. I'm taking that right now. So, City win, Arsenal win, City will get a playoff place, and I will sleep tonight better than I have in a long, long time. Of course, to be able to win tonight, City are going to have to be defensively strong, and of course that starts with our Edison, who we can see on the screen right now warming up. It's absolutely chucking it down in Paris, isn't it? Wonderful. It's dry here in Manchester today. Who would have thought that? So, Eddie, David, it's been a different season for him because he has been challenged, of course, by Stefan Ortega, who's been playing. He took his opportunity. He came in when Eddie was injured. I feel like that's a good thing for him.
Yes. This is the game against Ipswich. There was some routine stuff that was early in the game from I think the second minute, whatever. I think, Eddie, this happens when you spend a period of time, a long period of time, shall I say, at a club. You're going to have ebbs and flows of top performance, and sometimes it's not going to be as great. And the beginning of this season wasn't necessarily the greatest. I think the result of that was a lot of question marks over performance. And as Izzy will know from being a player, as soon as people start questioning outside stuff, then it goes straight to what's happening on the field. Oh, that's got to influence this. I think there was talk of moving during the break, end of season, whatever. Ortega is a great goalkeeper, isn't he? And he's proved on numerous times for City that he can deputise for Eddie very well. What I found interesting in the Brentford game, we have to see this clip here, because this is at 2-0 in the 49th minute, I believe. And as Izzy said, Ipswich aren't a bad team, even though their league position might suggest otherwise. If this goes in, and it just doesn't go in, it's a fantastic save.
Super save.
I think Doku basically went up the other end and scored the third goal. And from behind, it's even better, because Johnson here, Ben Johnson, he might be a defender, but it's a perfect shot to go in the bottom right-hand corner. Any kind of missed goalkeeping, handling or anything like that, all of a sudden it's 2-1. We're looking at Brentford at 2-2. When it ends 2-2, we're looking at in Champions League to ring that reference for Feyenoord from 3-0. That was the opportunity for Manchester City to maybe rock, but instead they go and score more goals. I was at the Brentford game, as I keep saying. I'm looking at the warm-up, and I know Ortega's playing, but I'm looking at Eddie, and I'm like, Eddie looks really good. In the warm-up, it was weird. He just there was something about him. It was like, he looks really, really good. And then lo and behold, Ipswich, Eddie's in the starting lineup, makes saves like that, keeps clean sheet, which is very important. And I think that you need, in this long spell at a club, sometimes you need not a Donnarumma slap in the face, but you need a little bit of a slap in the face just to remind you about what you need to do in order to get back to the levels that they brought you in for the club. So.
It's dead interesting, actually, because like a goalkeeping dynamic, like obviously I cannot speak for being in one, but it must be so different because your body language at all times must be being observed.
Yeah.
Like, and you say about Eddie in the warm-up and how sharp he looked.
I always watch the warm-ups, and the thing
Yeah.
is, I've watched so many Man City warm-ups, and it's the same. I say this in a respectful way, but
Yeah.
it's the same thing. Eddie does this, he does that, he does that, and then he goes and plays a game.
Yeah.
Against Brentford, he was looking sharp.
Wow, that's interesting.
Kevin De Bruyne was running around in the warm-up, and I was doing a commentary, and I said he looks sprightly. You could visually see this uplift in plays. And I know Eddie didn't play against Brentford, but he then plays the next game. It's just lovely.
It's a very interesting point, David, because Pep said in his pre-match interview before the Ipswich game that the reason he'd chosen Ederson for that game was because he'd been speaking to the goalkeeper coaches, and that is how he decided, because of the training that they'd done in the week before. So maybe they were feeding back about the way that he was warming up as well. And I think competition is healthy. Absolutely.
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's the thing. We're not talking about Ederson being dropped for a goalkeeper who's not capable of playing for City, and Ortega, as I say, done some fantastic things. So, yeah.
Sometimes as a player, you do need a bit of a shock, like a bit of a ice water just over your face, a bit of a, ooh, right, okay. And when you constantly win, like City do, like sometimes it might be that little bit of competition that, you know, changes and then it gets the best out of people. That's why you've got a squad.
In the clip there of the save that we loved there, what I also liked about that is that Ruben Dias is right there. He's calm, his arms are out, and he immediately is giving that sense of leadership and of commanding and of this is my box, and I'm so happy. You know, can we just have a moment for the amount of blocks that Ruben Dias makes as well? Again, there we go. Like, that was perfect timing there. One and then the other. I think we're going to see some other one. And here he is. Oh, I love this one. Oh, I am so here for a big block, is he?
He's, you know, similar to David, who was at the Brentford game. I don't know if he mentioned, but I was at the Ipswich game. And I had a superb view of City's back line in the in the first half. And he came back into the team, and the presence, just purely based on his body language, his leadership, his arm movement, and just his general body language, it just said a lot about City's back line, and it was almost like, right, he's back in the game, we're more solid now, and you know, no surprise that the team then went on to completely blow Ipswich away. And like we said, Ipswich, not easy to blow away, but City did that, and I don't think it's a coincidence that, well, I think it's a coincidence that Ruben Dias is back in the team and City played like that.
Clearly, I find your comment there very funny. That was a very loud laugh from me, by the way. So if that deafened anybody, I apologise. But yeah, couldn't agree more. Yeah. And obviously, it's been a difficult season for the centre-backs because there's been so many injuries, David. I don't know how many times we've managed to start with a consistent defence when, you know, Ake's doing well and then he picks up a knock. John Stones has had injuries, obviously. Ruben Dias has had injuries as well. So for the defence, there has been that extra added challenging element this season.
It has, yeah. I think in the symptomatic of, I think, the season for City, that one or two injuries in an amazing squad, you can suffer and no one really notices the difference. And I think, going back to Izzy's reference with Eddie there, when you're used to winning week in, week out, there's been a few changes, they win. Well, that's because City got an amazing squad, so it doesn't really matter. There have been so many injuries that the pressure has been put on a defence, which itself is suffering injuries. And then all of a sudden it's kind of like, well, have we got a defensive problem? Well, no, you've got a problem everywhere. But to have Diaz back and just that attitude, and those blocks are great, because if you're in goal, there's a bit of frustration from a goalkeeper, because now and again you could have saved them. You don't want you to... I had it, but the point is he is putting himself on the line to block everything, and it changes the mentality of the defence. Yeah. All of a sudden, it's not that the others can't do the blocks, but he does it so frequently that he just raises the level of quality in that defensive line.
We know you want to stay busy, but we don't want the ball getting to you, David. We'd rather you didn't touch the ball for the whole entire game.
It goes against my stats.
Yes. Now, another person part of our defence who's been absolutely incredible since he joined, of course, is Josko Vardiol. And it is his birthday tomorrow. A big, big happy birthday to Josko Vardiol for tomorrow. And let's hope that he gets 3 big Champions League points for his birthday. Now, it's been a very, very busy week. Of course, it is January. It is the time when we can sign players, and we have signed some players. So let's have a look now back at some of the incredible, incredible videos that we've had this week revealing our new signings.
Bu komanda dunyoning eng yaxshi komandalaridan biri. Men bu yoqqa trofey yutgani keldim. Men har doim qiyinchilik bilan kelganman. ishlansa to'xtatish yo'q. Bu nafaqat men uchun, balki O'zbekiston uchun. Men ko'rganman qanaqa futbol o'ynayotganlarini. Menga ham qiziqish bo'lgan. Borganman. Bu komanda juda katta komanda. Treneri eng yaxshi trenerlardan biri. Shu uchun keldim.
Eu escolhi o Manchester City porque é clube gigante e desde criança eu sempre venho vendo e sempre está brigando por títulos. Pepe é o melhor treinador do mundo e eu sempre tive esse sonho de ser treinado por ele e agora estou realizando. Eu trago para o elenco muita felicidade, muita vontade de vencer e espero poder contribuir bastante. Pode ter certeza que eu vou deixar tudo dentro de campo, tenho muita vontade, determinação. Sou um atleta que gosta bastante do combate, tenho um bom cabeceio também e um bom passe. Meus objetivos aqui no clube é fazer história, conquistar bastante títulos e ajudar toda a equipe. O meu sonho no futebol eu acho que é conquistar uma Champions League e uma Copa do Mundo. Eu prefiro fazer um gol e deixar zerado, porque fazer gol é muito gostoso, a sensação de fazer um gol, né? E de não tomar um gol também acho que toda partida a gente procura isso, de não tomar gol. Eu acho que como o City gosta de jogar com a bola, gosta de jogar desse jeito, também gosto. Eu acho que é meu estilo de jogo também. E eu acho que o City já demonstrou essa confiança para mim, de querer me contratar, então eu já fico muito confiante.
まあこのような有名なチームに来れてとても嬉しく思っているので、自分の中で今までで一番大きな決断したと思うんですけど、チームに貢献してファンの皆様に笑顔になってもらえるように頑張っていきたいと思います。
I decided to come to Manchester City first because I think it's one of the best clubs in the world and also the Champions League, and just making me feel challenged. When I was playing US, I want to say thank you for my teammates. I think the way the team was playing was helping me so much to be the best player in the league. I'm really, really excited. I think Champions League can help players to be the best player in the world. I think one of my dreams is to be the best player in the world. Playing for the national team and at home and have this silver medal is the best thing I could do in my life right now. I think the feeling, the emotion, the fans, how the celebration, those things, it's make me feel really nice feeling. English league for us Brazilian, it's really a big deal. I can't believe this is happening in my life. I just need to be grateful and also ready to play with them now and do history with this big club.
What a January we are having for signings. Some seriously exciting talent there for both the men and the women's team. So if we start off with the men's team, so we have signed 19-year-old Brazilian youth international Vitor Reis, I think is the correct pronunciation. Alistair Mann and I have been discussing this before the game because, of course, of the greatest respect to him and, of course, to Brazil, we'd like to get the pronunciations right. In English, we think it might be rice, but we think that it might be pronounced Reis.
Okay.
So, hey, if you're watching currently and you know Brazilian, if you are in Brazil, do let us know, because I want to make sure that we get it absolutely right. So, Brazilian youth international, he is a centre-back. He is well known for being a leader. And the description that I got on the Man City website was a classy centre-back. And I like the sound of that.
It's not like City to sign classy centre-backs, is it? There's already plenty of them. Add him to the collection. I mean, from what I've read and what I've heard about him, he sounds very exciting. I never really like making comparisons to other players But then I also understand the value in that when a player is new, because fans want to know roughly what they're getting with a player who we don't know too much about. And I've heard a bit of an likening to Ruben Diaz, which I think, if that is true and he's a similar type of centre-back, I think that's very exciting.
Oh, Izzy, that would be very, very exciting. Absolutely. His performances last year earned him a place in the Brazil Football Team of the Year, the Trofia Mesa Rendonon Team of the Year. Again, I've done my best there. So obviously that's, of course, all players in Brazil. He made the Team of the Year, David. He is a centre-back, but he can also play in full-back position as well, which obviously we always like.
Yeah. Can Diaz play in a full-back position?
No.
There you go.
So there we go.
Hey!
How wrong was I?
I was thinking of, straight away I was thinking classy central defender would be Marquinhos, who we're going to watch tonight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you know what? I'm sure I read in one of his interviews that Marquinhos is one of his heroes.
Yeah, I mean, I have to say I've not seen him play, so I'm as new to him as a lot of the people watching and listening. But yeah, the idea that I mean, look at him. I think there's, apart from the hair, there could be a Marquinhos. But the thing is, Marquinhos might be suffering today because City are going to play so well. So maybe that's not the right comparison. Diaz.
Yeah,
Diaz.
I'll stick with Diaz. He's a leader as well. He's been a captain of all the youth teams that he's played in, both internationally and at club level, for pretty much since he was 11 years old as well, which is what we like, of course. You know, and obviously we know that in Brazil they play, you know, even though they're young, they play men's football. He's 19, but he's been in the first team for years and years. Here he is training yesterday with the team, and also this applies for him, but also for PSG as well. Players signed in January cannot play in the group stages of the Champions League, because of course that squad was registered way before, but they can all then play in the playoffs and the knockout stages. So we'll look forward to seeing him playing in that stage. That is the positivity I'm putting out. So not the only centre-back that we have signed in this transfer window, because we welcome the first ever player from Uzbekistan to the Premier League. I imagine that country is so unbelievably proud right now. So we have welcomed Kadir Kushanov. So he likes to be called Kadir, we've been told, but it's Abdul Kadir Kushanov to Manchester City, 20 years old. He's come from Ligue 1 on a 4.5-year deal, and as we say, the first ever Uzbekistan international to play for City and of course to play in the Premier League as well. Another centre-back, this time an out-and-out centre-back, David.
I'm actually buzzing because I was in Uzbekistan last year, part of a TV show where they were looking for Uzbekistan talent, and I was explaining to Izzy there, they were coming from everywhere to be part of the show. Their love for football. And as you said, last year going out there, it's kind of like, oh, OK, Uzbekistan might have half a decent national team, whatever, but the individual players haven't been represented, as you say, in the Premier League. For City to sign one, and for him to play, I mean, to be the one and only, that would be amazing. And if anything, it would encourage more Uzbekistan lads to get involved in football.
What was your experience like in Uzbekistan?
I loved it. I went to see an Uzbekistan Super League game, bought the shirt.
Yes.
Yeah. Then found out that apparently they were the equivalent to another team in Manchester for their success, which, yeah, but anyway, they didn't win.
Nicely added on there. I read the most lovely fact about him online as well. He was born on February the 29th, 2004, so he's a leap year kid.
So he's 5.
Yeah, he is, yes, wow. Yeah. The youngest player ever to play in the Premier League, yes. I know, amazing that, I love that. So the odds of being born on that day, 1,461 to 1. He was also on the long list for the Golden Boy last year as well. And he's also an Olympian, because he played in the Olympics. For Uzbekistan. I mean, this is some CV for a 20-year-old already. He doesn't speak English. He speaks Uzbekistan and Russian, and he was having French lessons while he was in France as well. What's it like? Have either of you played with a player that's come over? Because I imagine, football's a universal language, isn't it? What's it like when a player comes over and doesn't speak English?
It's difficult, but it's actually really exciting because you find new ways to communicate, and I think it's really nice to find that sort of human connection. It's always like when you have a new signing coming in as well, like, and you're doing a rondo, which is like a keep ball box on the training pitch, and as soon as you have a new signing that comes into the rondo, you're judging them. You're like, this is your opportunity to show us why you're here. And no, I think without judging too much, it's really exciting. And I think this guy here, he sounds like he's a beast. Everything I've read online, he's a beast, which is exciting because centre-backs traditionally are beasts. You know, we think of Vincent Kompany. Imagine if he's going to follow in the likes of his footsteps. How amazing would that be? But I'm sure he'll be getting English lessons. It's difficult learning French, so he comes over with, you know, a bit of French speaking, which might help him as well. And yeah, it'd be really exciting for him to learn the language and get embedded with the City philosophy.
And of course speaks the universal language of football. And yes, he's well known for being physical, so you're completely right there, likes to dominate players. So that's the two men's signings so far. We'll move on to the women's team now. Just a quick update as well. The women currently playing Manchester United. It's now 1-1. So Manchester United have equalised. Millie Turner. It's still got about 10 minutes to go in the first half, so we'll keep updating you. That is the quarter-final of the League Cup. Two new additions in the last couple of weeks for Manchester City, who are both on the bench tonight as well, so we might get to see them in the second half. So first of all, Aimu Omeya, who's another Japanese international player. Some incredible talent are coming out of Japan. She has signed on a 2.5-year deal, and my favourite stat that I read about her is that Yui Hasegawa is her idol. Well, great, Izzy. If she's putting herself up, if she's half as good as Yui, then we've got another incredible player.
Yeah, I've heard really good things. They say you should never meet your idols, though. So. Yeah, she will have already met her by playing for Japan.
I met Sean Goater and it was fine.
I'm only joking. No, I've heard really good things about her, versatile. One of the coaches I worked with in the academy was actually watching the first team train a few days ago, and she rung me and she went, "New player, unbelievable." So I was like, that's enough. Short, concise communication. But there is something about. It's a real influx of Japanese players coming to the WSL. It's a hot market at the moment. And with the development of style of football that we're playing over here, we need technicians, tacticians, players that understand the way we want to play. So this is another good signing for the women's team to bolster the squad. Another international. Really excited about watching her play.
Do either of you have any idea why we're getting so many incredibly talented players coming out of Japan in this generation?
All I know is Japan has traditionally had a half-decent women's national team.
Very good,
so
very good.
It stands to reason if they can produce top-quality players, then at the national level, then it would be international. Because I know other teams in the northwest are securing deals with Japanese players as well.
Yeah, I think the Japan, Spain, and Holland, they're nationalities of players that are coming in to European leagues and playing for top Champions League clubs. And I think it probably goes back to the philosophy of those federations of football and the tactical and technical understanding of the game has been taught to these players from a very, very young age, where we're now playing as a federation. We're playing catch-up almost. So there's a noticeable difference with the quality of players coming into the league and the players we need to produce as well in our country to get up to speed. But it's only going to help us grow the level of the game in this country.
Yeah, absolutely. Couldn't agree more. Welcome incredible players from all over the world. And of course, Japan, both the men's and the women's teams have both had great runs in World Cups lately as well. Yeah. The women finished top of their group in the last Women's World Cup. I forget where they finished. They got to the quarterfinals.
Yeah, they was there and thereabouts, which, like you say, now it says everything. About the football philosophy. But
they've been doing this for cycles already.
Yeah,
it's not like Izzy says, it's not just a one-off great Women's World Cup. It's a continuation.
Absolutely.
And then another really incredibly exciting player that has joined, and a real coup, I would say. I imagine she was wanted by everybody. So we have welcomed the Brazilian star Caroline Nicole to the club. That was announced, I think that was just today, and she's already on the bench. I checked before. She's on the bench tonight as well. I mean, very, very exciting player. Brazilian international. She's come from North Carolina Courage on a deal which will keep her with us until 2028. And she made her senior Brazil debut when she was just 18, Izzy. Wow.
Against me.
Oh my goodness, tell us.
Well, England, Brazil at Notts County. We won 1-0. Sorry, Caroline. But yeah, that was her international debut for Brazil, and myself and Alex Greenwood were both playing in that game. So I'm sure she'll be happy to reunite. I think Alex might have played against her again since that game, but she's now on 50 caps for Brazil as well, which is pretty impressive because Brazil have also done well recently in major tournaments. So she's a great signing, really excited. I think she'll be a fan favourite. Yeah, and she was part of that Brazil team that got the silver medal in the Olympics in the summer. So wow, that's amazing. Her debut, and you played in the England team against her. Yeah. In fact, we planned these things, David.
Did you have a good game?
Yeah, I played quite well. Of course, she's an exciting forward as well, which obviously we know we need. Viv's just come back, obviously, from the injury, but we know Bunny's out as well. So adding somebody else with her experience to that forward line is really important, David.
Well, we had experience and quality. Yeah. I mean, experience in itself isn't a justification of quality, but with the two signings you got there, I think it's very positive news for the women's team, and hopefully success will come with it. Absolutely, and hopefully that success starts tonight in the quarter-final of the League Cup, where the women are currently drawing 1-1 with United. It's not quite at half-time yet. It started at 7, so just a couple of minutes off half-time. We are 15, 17 minutes away from kick-off tonight, 8 o'clock. Of course, as always, you'll get full match commentary on the Manchester City app. Tonight, Alistair Mann and Nikki Weaver will be on commentary with you. Now, we are going to take a moment to appreciate the man that you can see on the screen behind us, Matheus Nunes. We managed to speak to him earlier about his love and his progression and his time in the Champions League.
My memories of the Champions League when I was a kid. When I was a kid, the only thing I can think of is Ronaldinho. Yeah, because I mean, I watched all of his games, all of his YouTube videos. So I mean, everything that when I was a kid thinking about football, it reminds me of him. You know, I remember the Champions League when the game against Arsenal in the final. I mean, I watched a lot of Barcelona when I was a kid, also because of him, of course. So I mean, I think the first thing that comes to my mind is Ronaldinho. I didn't even remember. See, you just. I mean, yeah, it was an amazing. I remember before the match, feeling so pumped up, more than any other game. I would say, I was feeling very pumped up, like full energized, full, like everything was on. You know. I mean, everything you dreamed of, like I said, the anthem, especially the anthem, like you always listen to it in the video games, like in the TV. Sometimes I did listen when I was in the stadium watching the Sporting, when I was playing for the academy. So now you actually there, it's just incredible. And I was playing against Ajax, which was like one of the rising teams at the moment, that moment. So I mean, it was a special night. Yeah. At that time, I didn't care. I was like, I didn't care because we lost 4-0. I was so upset. The day after, I remember, when I arrived to breakfast at the training ground, like my teammates were talking about it. I was like, he just said that because he won, you know. I was very upset, and I mean, but of course afterwards, like a couple of days after everything just settles down, you think about it, and it's just a proud moment to have this kind of recognition from him. And afterwards, I ended up being managed by him. So I mean, it was just a really good coincidence, and yeah, it was really good. I mean, it's quite different, to be fair, because I mean, you get to play with lots of different teams, you know, during the group stage, which compared to the last season, I mean, you played against 3 teams and you repeat to the second half, so you get to know the teams to play the second leg against them. So I mean, it is different, but it's also exciting because it's a new way of the competition. I mean, I feel like everyone was excited about it. But yeah, I mean, it's also good. It's just a different way to approach it. I mean, yeah, of course, the atmosphere is different. You can tell in the games. I mean, maybe I don't know for the fans if they can tell, but for us that they're inside of the stadium, I mean, we can tell the difference. I don't know. I can't explain. You know, as the anthem starts to go off, I mean, it's different. You just feel the goosebumps, and I mean, it's just amazing nights, especially because all of the games are during the night. So I mean, it's also different. I just win. There's no other way to go to this game like we go to any other match. I mean, I think now we are like getting back to our levels in terms of play and results. I mean, there were games that we did play well, but we didn't win. But I mean, now I feel like we are coming back to our level. And I mean, it will be no different this game to any other Premier League match. We're going to go for it to get the 3 points. Doesn't matter if it's away or doesn't matter the opponent.
Matheus Nunes talking about the Champions League. We are less than 15 minutes away from tonight's 8 p.m. kickoff as the men take on PSG in Paris. As you know, the women are currently playing. That was a 7 o'clock kickoff against Manchester United in the quarterfinals of the League Cup. And they've just taken the lead, Izzy.
Get in.
It's 2-1. Lily Murphy.
Go on, Lily Murphy.
Lily Murphy, 45 plus 2 as well.
Get in
right
there.
at the end of the first half as well. And from what I'm reading quickly, by all accounts, City have dominated the first half. So fingers crossed. We will keep you updated. If you would like to watch that game as well, it is available on City Plus, which is £4.99 a month or £34.99 for a full 12 months. And of course, you get the women's games, the EDS games, the youth games, and the incredible content and documentaries that City put out. It's absolutely wonderful. Friday night, you're going to get the EDS taking on Wolves live as well. So, sorry, under 18s. So it's a perfect opportunity to sort of have a little look at all the incredible talent that's coming through as well. So the women currently on there, it's about to go to half time. We'll update you as well, obviously, if you've been watching the men's game at half time on that as well. So over in Paris, we have a wonderful supporters club. We have a wonderful supporters club everywhere. We've got one in Uzbekistan, by the way, David. Next time you're out in Uzbekistan,
Absolutely.
you should get yourself over there. We went out to see the Paris official supporters club and they had some questions for you both. Are you ready?
Wow. This is exciting.
I'm from the City Supporter French branch, and I've got a question from IZZY. What do you think about the recent form of City? And do you think we can turn it around in the second part of the season?
Okay.
Well, I think the recent form is slightly better. We're getting better, definitely. We had a blip, of course. We have to be honest. But yeah, I think the second half of the season is going to be really exciting. I think it's starting to gather some momentum, and I think the fans have got a lot to look forward to coming up.
Lovely. Thank you very much. And thank you very much for the question. Right. Have we got more?
Hello, my name is Luca. I'm a long-time Manchester City fan. A question for David. What do you think about the new acquisition for Kuzanov and Reis from last transfer window?
That was a great question. I mean, we've just talked about them here in studio, but Uzbekistan's representative Kushnov, I think, is going to be a player to look forward to. And the class of a Brazilian, was it a classy Brazilian?
Classy.
I think it was described as. Yeah, I mean, we've been glorifying about how Diaz coming back has enhanced the City defence, but these two signings, I think, are just in line to keep the tradition of top City defending in place into the next 3, 4, 5 years. So Erling Haaland will be happy.
Lovely. Thank you very much. I feel like you're going to be very popular in Uzbekistan tonight as well. Like, yes.
Can I let you into a little secret?
Yes.
I went to the Uzbekistan FA headquarters, and I was given a pennant which I have up in my house.
That's really cool.
Yeah. I really enjoyed myself. It was really good.
You just got a whole new fan base, I would suggest.
Next time you go out,
Yes.
you have to go and see the City supporters group.
Yes.
Of course, yeah, without doubt.
Love that. Thank you. Right. Do we have any more questions?
I'm Diane. So I have a question for IZZY. I would like to know if you like doing City punditry more than Sky or else punditry, and why?
What a great question. I've never really... I think punditry is just one thing, but I love working for City TV and Matchday Live, waxing lyrical about one of the best teams in the world right now. So I like that, and I love the contrast that Sky as well gives. It's lots of different teams to stay across, keeps me on my toes. So yeah, I'm very lucky to be able to do both.
And we know that you love doing the co-commentary from the Joy Stadium.
Yes, I do.
Very much.
One of my favourite things as well.
Thank you. Right, one more question.
Hi, I'm Diane. I have a question for IZZY. I would like to know what type of commentary do you like most, and why?
Oh, okay.
What type of country?
Commentary, I think.
Commentary, okay.
Yes. Okay. So I guess punditry or actual commentary.
Oh, it's a great question. I do love in-game commentary because we're just talking about the game that's happening right in front of us. You do a bit of commentary as well, don't you?
I'm going to jump on that question.
Go on.
You see, if you've got radio or TV commentary,
Yeah.
they're fundamentally different, even if you're doing the same thing.
Yes,
because with
they
radio,
are.
you have to describe something that people can't see.
Yes.
And also you get to talk before and afterwards quite often, whereas TV, you just talk about what you see on the screen.
Yes.
I don't know about you. I
agree.
really do like radio, because you can tell people, I've just seen Kevin De Bruyne do something that no one else will see.
I loved you pitch side. Was it the Euros?
Yes.
You were pitch side for the radio.
Yeah, that was an interesting
brilliant.
job. It wasn't very much fun when it was raining.
Well, do you know what?
I agree.
It's chucking it down in Paris tonight as well. We are less than 10 minutes.
She's a pro. She loves it.
There's no flights right now.
Izzy would have been fine. It is less than 10 minutes, 8 p.m. kick-off tonight. You'll get full match commentary on the City app with Alistair Mann and with Nicky Weaver. And as always, you know by now, everybody, suddenly at this point, my stomach starts to jump because I remember that there's a real game about to happen in 6 or 7 minutes. So, David, give us your final thoughts. If there's any way you could calm my stomach, that'd be wonderful.
I'm going to go off what I've seen in the last couple of games from the squad in general, this man in particular. Just this uplift in physical confidence against a Paris Saint-Germain side who, having looked through what they've got capabilities, yes, I don't think this is going to be an easy game. This guy here, of course. I'm very confident that City will win this game because I think they will just have too much. This man here.
Yes, OK.
Yeah.
The slow motion shots in the rain as well, by the way. Beautiful. Loving that. Izzy, give us your final thoughts.
Exactly the same as David. I think this is going to be a great night for City, a proper European night, wet pitch, rain coming down, slick passing. Oh, and just as I said that, look who comes on the screen.
Slick passing.
Did you want a score prediction?
Please do one. Yes, Izzy.
I'm going 3-1 City.
Oh, yes, Izzy.
3-1.
David?
I was going to say 3-1 as well.
You can say
really?
it.
Yeah.
You can say it.
I just said it.
OK, then. You sticking with it? 3-1.
4-1.
4-1. Yes, David James. Love
What's your
that.
prediction, Nat?
Thank you. I don't know. I feel a lot better after speaking to you. I'll go 2-1 and then we've got them all covered. Thank you, David James. Thank you, IZZY CHRISTIANSEN. Thank you so much. You settled my nerves. I feel a lot better now. So it is now, if you're not currently watching on the City app, get yourself over there so you get your commentary from Alistair Mann and from Nicky Weaver as well. Thank you very much for joining us on Matchday Live. We'll be back at half-time, where we'll also update you on the women's game. It's still 2-1 City. It's now half-time. And then, of course, we'll be back at full-time as well, where, fingers crossed, we are talking about a City win and an Arsenal win. Yes, because that would mean that City have qualified for the playoff stage of the next round of the Champions League. So thank you very much for joining us tonight. Look, there is a light show taking place behind us. Let's head over now to Alistair Mann and to Nicky Weaver.
Well, hi there, everyone. Welcome to the Parc des Princes.
Well, thank you very much. It is reminiscent, I guess, of the opening ceremony of the Olympic Games back in the summer when it absolutely chucked it down then, you may recall. It is again bucketing down in the French capital. There is a dramatic light show taking place in the Parc des Princes, and the reality is that this is a huge night for both the home side and, of course,